there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Yeah, we have that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
Rogan had Mark Zuckerberg on his Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and the topic of Hunter Biden's laptop came back up for discussion because of course it did. That's the laptop that just will not die. And in this case, Rogan wanted to know about a New York Post story that was published pretty close to the 2020 election. And it was censored on social media platforms. Now, Zuckerberg is about to explain how Facebook censored that specific article and how that came to be. But we'll break it down further when we come back from the clip. So let's watch.
The FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false. The distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country, it's like very professional law enforcement, they come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it basically fit the pattern.
Okay, so it's really important for you to remember that last part especially, because he's asked specifically whether the FBI had reached out in regard to the New York Post piece. First he says no, then he kind of says, I don't remember. We don't know what the truth is, but clearly the FBI had reached out because they were expecting, as he said it, a dump of Russian propaganda on social media platforms, okay? Now, with that said, was it the right thing to bury the story, right? So he's trying to show how Facebook acted differently from Twitter. Twitter didn't allow individuals to post it, whereas Facebook would allow you to post it or share it. They would just bury your post so no one could see it, effectively doing the same thing in censoring the story. That's how it works. But nonetheless, I think it's wrong, especially because the New York Post piece, at the time we were concerned that maybe there was inaccurate reporting in there. But it appears that there was not inaccurate reporting. And I want to tell you what that reporting was real quick, and then I'll give you the update to the reporting, which we had done on the show. So the piece was titled, "Smoking Gun Email Reveals How Hunter Biden Introduced Ukrainian Businessmen to Vice President Dad." So he introduced someone who worked for Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company, to Joe Biden. And the innuendo in the piece is that, Hunter Biden was given that job in order to have Burisma use his influence, his influential father, for all sorts of sweetheart deals and things like that. Now, I believe in American politics, that's called Tuesday. But nonetheless, the DOJ ended up investigating this, and we reported on the outcome of that investigation. Let's go to that clip. According to reporting from the New York Times, in the April 2014 email, Hunter Biden indicated that Burisma's officials, quote, "need to know in no uncertain terms that we will not and cannot intervene directly with domestic policymakers, and that we need to abide by the Foreign Agents Registration Act, or FARA, and any other US laws in the strictest sense across the board." Whoa. That seems bad.
Yeah, Anna, that's my point. That's my point. So let me weigh in on this story. We now have firm conclusions. Hunter Biden and his laptop. Okay, first, let me just declare our bias in this case is approximately 0%. We don't give a damn about Hunter Biden. We don't care if he's innocent. We don't care if he's guilty.
She ain't my hero.
Yeah.
So I thought it was important to talk about the actual content of the New York Post piece and then the update on that investigation before really commenting on whether or not it was right for the FBI to reach out to these social media platforms to essentially censor content that would not be favorable to Joe Biden. And I think it was the wrong way to go. I don't think we should have the FBI or any government agency censoring any type of content, even if it's content that we might not like and might not appreciate from certain sources, for instance.
Yeah, so let's dive in. Okay, so first of all, let's know something really important here. Everyone is running with the story that Facebook buried the Hunter Biden laptop story. Zuckerberg never said that. You just saw the tape of him saying, I don't remember. Facebook PR came out afterwards and said, yeah, just like he testified earlier, the FBI did talk to us, but not necessarily about that story. So there's absolutely no confirmation that the FBI talked to Facebook about the Hunter Biden laptop. The truth is not important, of course. You will hear the exact opposite everywhere else, okay? And you just heard it for yourself. I mean, you don't need us. You saw the tape, okay? Point number two, is the Hunter Biden laptop story a big deal? Well, as we showed you in that earlier clip, and there's a lot more, and you should watch that earlier clip, you find out in the laptop that Hunter Biden tells his partner, now remember, don't represent us as being able to influence my dad on decisions, because we can't. So the laptop, for all of its salacious material, the crack and the prostitutes and all that, the right wing says. Yeah, but in the laptop, it actually says the opposite, that we can't influence my dad and don't pretend that we can. But they just don't care, they just don't care. Look, how can you tell who's telling the truth and who's not? If the FBI came out today and said, hey, you know what? No, guys, you actually missed 2 or 3 things that are also in the laptop. And it turns out Joe Biden did help Hunter Biden in this business dealing and it was corrupt. I'd say, okay, great, then they have the evidence. They should prosecute Hunter Biden and if need be, prosecute Joe Biden. I don't care. We've said it from day one. Now, when you go to the establishment media, they do care. No, don't talk about the Hunter laptop. No, you can't. You're holding Joe Biden accountable. Outrageous, the idea of it. Why is it outrageous? If he did it, hold him accountable. Why would you be against that? But they're all uniformly against that. And the right wing senses that accurately, and that makes them super pissed, right? Meanwhile, the right wing says, I don't care what's in the laptop, prosecute him. Okay.
No, but Cenk, let me stop you right there because this is an important point. When it comes to Hunter Biden, we don't care what the laptop says, go after him anyway, prosecute him anyway. But when it comes to their daddy stealing classified documents and taking it home with him to Mar-a-Lago, we're talking about hundreds of classified documents. If you prosecute him using the law that Trump himself passed, when it comes to classified documents, we'll riot in the streets. Come on.
Yeah, so look, the bias of the different portions of American media is super obvious. They're not hiding it at all. To be fair, the right wing isn't hiding it. They're just lying nonstop. They don't care. It's so brazen that they're just doing it out in the open, right? And everybody knows it. But mainstream media is way more sophisticated. And they'll bury a story, they'll mangle a story, they'll reframe a story, and they'll go, whoa, we're objective, right? So, and we saw the same thing happen in the primaries. We said, hey, wait a minute, Joe Biden said he wanted to cut Social Security 6 different times and it's on tape. And the mainstream media was like, no, you're not allowed to talk about that. How dare you? What do you mean, how dare I? It's on tape. Dude, you're not allowed to talk about it. You're trying to split the Democratic Party. But wait a minute, I thought you were objective. Why do you care if I'm splitting the Democratic Party? So look, I think they're both brazen. So when you come back to the essence of the story, should the FBI have warned Facebook and Meta about Russian propaganda before the election in the way that they did? That's a super hard question because there was Russian propaganda. And by the way, other countries' propaganda as well. Was it material? It's very hard to tell. It seems like it was more material in 2016 than it was in 2020. But if they do that warning, it seems to tell them, Facebook probably correctly interpreted as "you better not." So that is a thing that the government should be very, very careful about. So now 2 different times we have the FBI screwing with elections in 2016 and in 2020. If you remember, James Comey, for no goddamn reason, right before the election said, we're reopening the investigation of Hillary Clinton and the goddamn emails. Over what? Anthony Weiner and a rando thing that had nothing to do with anything and turned out to be a nothing burger. And that made a giant difference and helped Trump win. This time around, they go around telling social media, oh, you better be careful about what you print. And I don't know if that swung the election, but the election was super close in those swing states. So yeah, the right wing has a right to be concerned about that. And the government should be very careful how it treads in that direction.